stand to praise you, but I fall on my knees. My spirit is willing, but my flesh is so weak that I find in my soul that flame make me whole. Lord, you know just where I've been, so like fire in my heart again. Amen. Are you praying for Metro? We have need of your prayers. We have so many things to be praying for. But this morning, as we kind of try to refocus everything, I want to have our prayer this morning not just be a prayer of thanksgiving for the things that God blessed us with, not just be a request for Him to continue to bless us and give us more opportunities, but also to thank Him for the gift that our moms are in our lives. Will you join me? Mighty God, Lord, we are thankful this morning for so many things. Of course, Father, the thing we are most thankful for is your presence in our lives. The way you have revealed yourself to us through your word. How you have sent your Holy Spirit to dwell within us in the process of salvation. And that salvation is through the blood of your Son, freely given on the cross for our sins. Father, there's nothing in this universe that could outmatch that salvation. But Father, considering that salvation as primary, secondarily, we come before you so thankful for the gift of motherhood, for the blessing that has been in our lives, for the things that you give us through it, how you have shown us your will and your love and your presence through our marriages. God, we ask that you bless them. We ask that you make us thankful for the blessing that they have been to us. And be with us this morning as we share a portion of your word. We ask that you continue to bless us, Father. And make us more like you tomorrow than we are today. That's in prayer. Amen. I have a very simple question for you this morning. This is going to kind of couch the tone for the next few minutes as we discuss our sermon this morning. And it boils down to simply this. I'll be honest with you before I ask it. I have a very difficult time coming up with Mother's Day sermons. I have a very difficult time coming up with Father's Day sermons. I don't know what it is. It's something about the rote, couch, holiday sermon that I find difficult. In fact, many, many times in my preaching career, I will come up with a great idea. And I'll think, oh man, that's going to be a great sermon. That'll preach really, really, really well. Only to get to work and look at my calendar and discover it's Mother's Day. And on that level, that's why I find it difficult, because I have a hard time thinking ahead in that way. I don't know if it's just the way I'm wired or what, but I have a hard time keeping ahead of those holidays. Thank God for calendars. They keep me out of the doghouse. They really do. But why do I find these sermons so difficult is because I feel like a lot of preachers, they write 2 or 3 Mother's Day sermons, or 2 or 3 Father's Day sermons, or 2 or 3 Christmas sermons, and they just revolve those every year. And, you hear it this year, you'll hear it 2 years again in 2 years, or however many sermons they have. I don't like that. I like coming up with new things. And, Christmas is Christmas. Father's Day is Father's Day. Mother's Day is Mother's Day. And how much can be said? Well, turns out a lot. Because I like to ask questions, and I like to make points that maybe you haven't considered before, and I like to think outside the box, especially, I think that's very important, especially in these both holiday sermons. So here's my question for you today, my outside the box question for my Mother's Day sermon. Why do moms make you feel bad? That's the job. I just heard Judy say that's the job. And I don't know what it is. In my family growing up, we always said it this way. Dad got mad, but Mom gets even. Mom gets even. I think I've told you some of these stories before, but I was afraid of my father and his judgments, his wrath, his punishments. I had that fearful respect for him, but I was afraid of my mother emotionally. I cannot tell you. I remember one time I don't even remember what I did. I just remember it was at the dinner table. And Mom had a particular pet peeve about that dinner table. We could behave like animals all day, but when you were at that dinner table, you were on your best behavior. I don't know what it was. And if you broke that rule, you did so at your own peril. And I remember, I don't know what it did. I was being crude or ill-mannered or disrespectful or what, but I was at the dinner table and I was making a fool of myself. And Mom finally said, "That's it. I'm going to get you back for this, and you're never going to see it coming." And you know what my mom always did? She would say things like that, and then she would let you forget. She would wait long enough to where you forgot, but Mom never forgets. She probably wrote it down somewhere. She probably has the date somewhere down in her notes when I was 16 and I did this at the dinner table. Here's what she did. I like to take really hot showers. I don't know what it is. I like anybody with me on that? A really good hot shower. I mean, like almost to the point where it's uncomfortable hot, okay? And I've always liked that. And I was taking the shower, and I like the whole bathroom to be steamy, and it's like you can't see a thing in the mirror. You can barely see it all in there. It's Mom knows this about me, and she can hear the shower running. She hears the shower turn off. I turn off the shower. Then I get out. I'm starting to towel myself off. And then I hear Mom knock on the door. And she says, "Jared, open up." And I said, "Why? I'm in here. I'm just getting out of the shower." "Open the door." I said, "Mom, I'm in here. I'm just getting out of the shower." She said, first she said the thing that every mom says, "I've seen it before." But then she says, "But I'm a sensitive teenager. I still kind of am." and she says, "You have a towel, don't you?" And I go, "Fine." She said, "I got to get in there. Let me in. Let me in. Let me in." And she is really pushing. I was like, "Fine. Fine, what?" And I open the door. She's in the hallway waiting with a bucket of ice water. And she gets me clean in the chest. Just pow! Like she's a sniper. Like my mom had military training for this. And that just, it's not, at a certain point, water gets cold enough to where it's no longer a liquid. We know that. But this block of what feels like just electricity hits me. And I go, "Oh!" Towel's gone at this point, by the way. It's on the floor. And I just shrink in the corner, and there's water and ice cubes all over the bathroom. I kid you not, this is what she did. She looks at me, she holds out the bucket, drops it, and says, "Clean it up," and walks away. I told my mom that story a couple of weeks ago. "You remember when you hit me in the chest with a bucket of ice water?" She says, "Yeah, I remember. You deserved it." Why do moms do things like that? Why do they? But you know what? When we think about moms, look, I don't want to hold anybody's hand through this sermon. Okay? Can we be honest about motherhood here for a minute? When we think about motherhood, when we think about moms, we think of the good things, of course. We think of all the times they were there for us. We think of all the meals that they made us. We think of all the times they stood up. I remember my mom staying up till 3 a.m. practicing with me for my driver's written test to make sure that I passed. And I got 100. I got a 70 on the drive test, but I got 100 on the written test. No, here, word of advice, any of you about to take your drive test, don't almost hit a cop car when you're taking the drive test. They don't like that. She only passed me because she had to. I remember those things. But when we're being honest, and we think about our moms and the relationships we have, moms can be frustrating. I know she's looking at you right now, but come on, look at me. Let's be honest. Moms can be frustrating, right? Oh, see, one brave soul. No. Moms can be frustrating. Because I feel like moms have expectations of their children that fathers don't have. In our family parlance, and I've heard other families and even TV shows use this, we call this mom goggles. You know what mom goggles are? Or mom vision. They see things in their kids that no one else sees. And this perception of their children creates standards that no one else has. Those of you who have been over my house, and most of you have, you might know that when you come into my house, there's this hallway that leads back to the living room, and in that hallway is a stencil that says, "Look what I did," and there's this string below it, and it has all these little elementary level art projects, like on construction paper, that my kids have created. And I've got two of my kids listening here, so I need to be careful with this, okay? But I remember one time, what's really funny, and she had a handyman tell her not to do this, so it might change. But behind that, she did that because she loves our kids' art, but she also did that because she thinks our thermostat is kind of ugly and she wanted to cover it up. So she put that there, and every time I have to go, it's like if I have to adjust the heat or the air, I have to go up to that thing and lift all these pieces of paper up and hit that. I'm like, there's too much paper on this. Why do we have so much of these things? It's a ridiculous amount. This thing has to weigh 40 pounds. You have any idea how much 40 pounds of construction paper is? It's a lot. And it's just hanging there. I'm like, why do we have this so much? And I'm thinking, we don't need this. We don't need this. Why does this turkey look like a hand? Why does this dog only have 3 legs? Is that supposed to be me? I don't have a mustache. Well, I'm looking at it, and she goes, no, we have to keep them. They're works of art. And I'm like, are you looking at the pictures that I'm looking at? Now, I don't mean that to be insulting, but come on. But she sees something there. And I love my kids' art. I've got kids' art hanging in my office. You guys can come see it. But by value of being a mom, she sees something through the mom goggles that I don't see. Do you know why moms annoy you, children? People with mothers? Do you know why moms annoy you? Why they anger you? Why they're frustrating? Because they see something in you that even you don't see. And their standards are created by their vision of who you are supposed to be in their head. You know what? You should get a T-shirt. And you should have it printed. And you should walk around with it proudly. And to tell the world, and it should say simply this. It should just be words on it and say, be the person your mom thinks you are. Right? And this has never changed. This has been true of all mothers throughout history, and I can prove it to you. I can give you a story of a mother doing exactly this 2,000 years ago, and it's in Matthew chapter 20. Now, what's interesting is that this passage is actually considered to be a negative story where this mom is making a fool of herself. But she's just doing what moms do, and what moms do is this. They challenge you, they frustrate you, they bother you, and they embarrass you. And they embarrass you. Do moms embarrass you? Come on. Do moms embarrass? How many of you have had your mom try to clean something off your face publicly? Okay. All right. We've all been there. How many of you have had your mom put you into an outfit that she assured you was fashionable and cool, but made you look like an idiot? Okay. Jeremy, put both hands up. We're not gonna talk about that. Okay. Moms do this. And you can almost hear James and John in the background going, Mom, stop saying these things to Jesus. Stop. But that's what happens. James and John's mom meets Jesus. And she does what I think any mom would do. This is the normal mom thing. Here's what she does. Matthew chapter 20, starting in verse 20. Then the mother of the sons of Zebedee came up to him with her sons, and kneeling before him, she asked him for something. And he said to her, "What do you want?" Now, I don't think Jesus is meaning to be curt there. I think that's just an issue of interpretation. He doesn't go, "What do you want, lady?" Because Jesus is smarter than that. What do you want? He's asking her legitimately, what can I do for you? What requests do you have? Verse 21, and he said to her, "What do you want?" She said to him, "Say that these 2 sons of mine are to sit, one at your right hand and one at your left in your kingdom." That's a bold request, right? Bold request. Tell me that my sons, these 2 sons of mine, are both to sit at one at your right hand and one at your left in your kingdom. Now, those are the positions of power. Those are the positions of influence. She wants her sons to be at the top of the totem pole, the food chain. And we read that as Christians, 2,000 years removed from this question, having known the end of the story, and we're pretty critical of James and John's mom. And we go, "Ooh, man, that lady's full of herself. Do you think she could just walk up to Jesus?" In fact, you know what? That's what the other 10 thought about this whole thing. In fact, later in the chapter, they quarrel over this. "Ooh, look, John got his mommy," like that. "I wish I had my mom here to help me get the good stuff," kind of thing, as close friends do. And we go, "Man, how dare she?" But you know what? Maybe we're reading this in a little bit of a wrong light. First off, let's look at Jesus' response. Verse 22, Jesus answered, "You do not know what you are asking. Are you able to drink the cup that I am able to drink?" He asked this of James and John. They say, "We are. We are able." Verse 23, he said to them, "You will drink my cup, but to sit at my right hand and at my left hand is not mine to grant, but it is for who has been prepared by my Father." Now, this isn't Jesus saying, "I don't know." In fact, he's actually being rather positive in his response here. He's saying, "You can drink the cup. Now, if you're going to sit with me, if you're going to follow me, you have to go through the things that I'm going to go through." This is effectively the same statement that he makes elsewhere, where he says, "You cannot be my disciples unless you pick up your cross and follow me. Unless you hate your own life, hate your mother, hate your father, hate your siblings next to me, even your own life, you cannot be my disciple." This is the cost of discipleship statement. We're very familiar with it. But what he says here after is that it's only for those who have been prepared by my Father. He's not really saying it's not up to me, it's up to Dad. That's not what he's really saying. And it's not up to my Father, it's not up to God the Father, and I'm less authoritative than he is. What he's saying is that it's up to the will of my Father in your life. And you have to be subject to that will. That if you make yourselves... Here's the thing. Any of us can sit at the right hand or the left hand of Jesus. We all get to sit at the head table, folks. We all get to sit at the familial table of Jesus Christ. Not by value of anything good that we have done, but by value of our salvation and how much he loved us. Believe me. Believe me. I remember, I've been to enough weddings to know that sometimes the people at the head table, the bride and groom, wish weren't there. But are there because they're what? There are plenty of probably people at that head table at the wedding reception who are not there because they've earned it, but are there because why? They're family, and I love them, and I want them to be near me. What Jesus' response is basically saying is if you give yourself over to the will of my Father, and what's his will? That you be saved. You will sit at my right hand or my left.